Are the Antifa rioters America's new idealistic heroes? The New York Times, NBC, CNN, Yahoo News, and other organs of the establishment media, clearly, would have us believe so. However, the media puff pieces that romanticize the violent Antifa, short for anti-fascist or anti-fascist action, mobs are covering up the fact that these groups are being led and trained by violent communist revolutionary groups such as the Revolutionary Communist Party, RCP, Workers' World Party, WWP, and by any means necessary, BAMN. These organizations are notorious for exploiting wedge-issue charges, such as racism, police brutality, global warming, sexism, xenophobia, and homophobia, to promote their broader, more radical, anti-American, anti-capitalist, anti-Christian, pro-communist agenda. They are training the Antifa cadres to be America's new Red Guards, the legions of young fanatics unleashed by Mao Zedong to cow China into total subjection to the Communist Party by mass indoctrination, terror, torture, and murder. This is not mere polemics on the part of this writer. Leaders of the Revolutionary Communist Party, for instance, one of the primary Antifa sponsors, openly and ardently idolize Mao Zedong and his Red Guards and sing praises to the great proletarian cultural revolution. Over the past year, Antifa gangs have materialized to lead violent confrontations and riots on college campuses and in city streets across America. The black-clad, mask-wearing communists, anarchists dogged candidate Donald Trump throughout his campaign and infamously disrupted his inauguration by blocking streets, smashing windows, starting fires, and physically attacking inaugural attendees. Now, their clashes with the neo-Nazis at the deadly protest in Charlottesville, Virginia, on August 12 have catapulted them to new stardom. Radical Professor Cornel West, the Ivy League Al Sharpton, has claimed that the Antifa hoodlums are courageous students who saved him and a group of leftist clergy members from being crushed like cockroaches by the violent racists. Appearing on Amy Goodman's ultra-left Democracy Now! Program on August 14, Professor West told Goodman's global audience that those 20 of us who were standing, many of them clergy, we would have been crushed like cockroaches if it were not for the anarchists and the anti-fascists who approached, over 350 anti-fascists. The anti-fascists, the anarchists, they saved our lives, actually, West claimed. Similarly, Reverend Seth Wispelwe, a United Church of Christ minister who accompanied West, told Think Progress, the Soros-funded vehicle of Clinton strategist John Podesta, that in the darkest moment, when they were surrounded by violent neo-Nazis, that's when Antifa saved our lives. As might be expected, these and similar testimonials by leftist participants in the Charlottesville counter-demonstration elicit thank the Lord for Antifa expressions throughout the liberal left media. Cornel West, the perpetual protester, is regularly given generous free national publicity on radio, TV, and in print. As we have reported many times in the past, Professor West, who has enjoyed honored posts at Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Paris, and other left-leaning universities, is the most famous public intellectual fronting for the Revolutionary Communist Party, RCP, the hardcore Maoists that have been fomenting riots and violent confrontations for decades. RCP founder Robert Avakian, a former comrade of Bill Ayers in the Violent Students for a Democratic Society, SDS, is an ardent disciple of Mao Zedong, and his RCP glorifies Communist China's Cultural Revolution and Mao's mass-murdering thugs, the Red Guards. Many of the most violent Antifa incidents have featured masked Antifa demonstrators and their supporters, such as Professor West, marching behind banners and holding signs printed by the RCP and emblazoned with the RCP website, www.revcom.us. As we reported last April, an Associated Press article on the Berkeley riots featured a prominent photo of marchers carrying a large banner with the message "In the name of humanity we refuse to accept a fascist America." www.revcom.us. The AP story merely refers to the marchers as anti-fascist, not mentioning anything about the RCP and other communist elements playing dominant roles in the conflagration. Most Americans, it is probably safe to say, are not familiar with the RCP, so it would seem to be responsible journalism to provide them with the basic facts about the RCP's participation in the event, as well as to give some appropriate background on the group and its main leaders. However, the same journalists who go to extraordinary lengths to discover some tenuous, or non-existent, link between a conservative politician and some group with real or imagined ties to racist, neo-Nazi, white nationalist, or extremist individuals or organizations, never feel obligated to exercise even a modicum of the same scrutiny as it pertains to screamingly obvious ties of prominent leftists to genuine extremism. Professor West and his ilk are rarely, if ever, inconvenienced with having to defend or square their affiliations with, or support for, terrorists and mass-murdering communist regimes. Combined with the ugly images of chanting neo-Nazis and the horrific video footage of a car ramming into a crowd of counter-protesters, statements from participants such as West and Wispel, we have provided the fodder for propagandists to transform Antifa activists into the social justice warrior equivalents of Captain America, which they most certainly are not. If anything, they are much closer to the Nazi brown shirts and the fascist black shirts they claim to despise. And they are rapidly being transformed into the loathsome Red Guards that trampled all human life, all human rights, and all human decency into the blood, dust, and fury of Chairman Mao's glorious great proletarian cultural revolution. For those journalists that fear to use the C-word, communist, out of dread of being accused of McCarthyism, oh, the horror, the Antifa Maoists and their comrades of various Marxist-Leninist shades have made it easy. Among the many forthright admissions by the more brazen activists who issue hiding their true identities is this recent tweet from Boston Antifa: "Let's get one thing clear. Antifa is an amateur communist cause. Those on the left who call us patriots, step the FK away. #Boston Resist." In the weeks since the bloody Charlottesville attack, the media deception has continued, with Antifa violence romanticized and its communist agenda concealed, while all those who oppose them are smeared as racists, fascists, and white supremacists.